So, a lot of people were talking about the fact that today will mark a year before the new Sonic 3 movie comes out. And I know some people will be wondering and asking, well, how is that possible? Didn't the strike kind of hold it back a little bit? Well, that's the one thing about this movie that some people have pointed out. It's one of those films that you don't have to worry too much about that because there are going to be scenes that they can film just like they did with Sonic 2 that don't require the actors. So that's a plus, in their, that's a plus in, their favor. Um, but yeah, a lot of people are talking about this. They're talking about it, because, a week or two ago we got an image of Shadow's legs and everything teased, thrown out there by Jeff Fowler and the Sonic movie social media pages and stuff, and it got people excited. You got this Project Shadow fan film out there that uses basically a Shadow movie inspired design. People are hyped for this sequel, and for a lot of people to say that next year, I should say, within a year, actually, will be when the movie gets released. It has people speculating of what else and who else are we going to see. And I've talked about this before, where, there's a possibility of who could show up. I remember when I first talked about a potential third movie that we could see, let's say, the Freedom Fighters in there, or at least see Sally Acorn in there. And that's still a possibility because, the movie is kind of like a mishmash, of the entire, you know, continuity, the entire continuity, if you will, of, you know, of Sonic. It's a mishmash of an entire continuity of Sonic and stuff. So I look at the fact that we could see Sally because there's no saying that we can't. But the most logical names in a lot of people's minds that we could see character-wise would be Amy and Rouge, because if this is going to be a loose adaptation, somewhat of Sonic 2, Sonic Adventure 2, you got to have those characters in there. You got to have Amy in there. You got to have Rouge in there. I mean, everybody looks at the Sonic 2 movie basically being as a mishmash adaptation of the original Sega game Sonic 2 to Sonic CD, with the exception of no metal. So when they look at Sonic 3 here, and they see Shadow going to be the main antagonist, or at least one of them, it gets people thinking and talking, okay, does that mean we're going to see other characters? Because, we got Gun, existing in this world and stuff and such. So does that mean we're going to have Rouge? Does that mean we're going to have Amy? Does that mean we might have Topaz from Sonic X? Because we know that Rouge in Sonic X and in some of the other adaptations of Sonic, media wise, she's portrayed as a jewel thief, aka a spy. She's a jewel, jewel thief. Excuse me, there. It's early. I do apologize if I'm studying on my words. It's early. But she's a jewel thief slash spy, if you will. So will she be incorporated in there to join forces with a human partner, like maybe Topaz, as I mentioned from Sonic X? Maybe we get her in there. We're not. I'm not really sure. And then of course you got the question about Amy. Does Amy show up? And that's going to be interesting in its own right, because you look at the fact that we're perceivingly thinking in this continuity, in this movie continuity, that Sonic's the only one of his species, but we're not really sure. We're not really sure if that's true or not. So it's going to be interesting on how they develop, you know, Sonic 3 within the next year. I know that they've been teasing, the possibility we're going to get a teaser trailer and all that down the line. Whether or not I should say that's going to be, in the next, few weeks, maybe to count down to New Year's, or it's going to be during the Super Bowl. It's hard to say, but I will say this, you know, whatever they do have planned, or for whoever they want to bring in, it's going to get people talking. Like I said, they could, surprise us and say, hey, here's Sally Acorn, a character that fans truly beloved of and everything and support, and we're going to do something no one expects. We're going to throw her in there. You know, um, they could do that. They could go and, like I said, bring in Rouge and team up with a human version of Topaz. If they want to bring in the Topaz character from Sonic X, they can bring in Amy, which is probably the most logical next step to kind of show, hey, he's not alone as far as Hedgehogs go, in this world. Because that's going to get proven anyway when Shadow shows up. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what they got planned and everything. I mean, obviously they don't want to let all the secrets out because they know, hey, in today's day and age, if somebody says, hey, I saw this, or hey, I heard about, I heard about this, and from a reliable source and such, that it's going to ruin the surprises and such. Excuse me there. So we'll have to see what they got in mind for us. I mean a good example of trying to keep things in secrecy. I think keep things in secrecy and all that was, of course, Spider-Man No Way Home. You know, Basically, everybody said Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were gonna be back as their respective Spider-Man, and people around the movie and even the actors themselves kept denying it and saying, "Oh no, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen." And yet, it happened, all because they were trying to keep secrecy. So, I can understand, like I say, in this day and age, they don't want to give too much away until we get like maybe a teaser or maybe a full-on trailer, as to what they have in mind. But like I said, I can't wait to see what they bring to the table. I really can't, because it's very rare for any video game adaptation as a movie, to succeed, everything. It's very rare for that to happen. But Sonic is a good example of, once it's done right, it's put in the right hands, you know, and the people that it's put in the right hands of, are allowed to pretty much, incorporate anything Sonic, from any adaptation or any continuity, any interpretation, then, and mix it well, then you're gonna have something good on your hands. And I'm definitely looking forward to what mixture, they, put together when it comes to Sonic 3. As I'm just checking something there, my computer's just loading. It likes to load even when I pause the updates. I don't know why. But yeah, I just can't wait to see what the mixtures are that they have in store for us when it comes to Sonic 3. What kind of conglomerate contraption, whatever mixture, that they put together. I can't wait. But what do you guys think? Who do you think is going to show up? Now that we're in a year of the release, we are within a year of the release. Who do you think is going to show up? Let me know down below in the comments of the live chat during the premiere. I do apologize for if I kind of stumbled on my words. Like I said, it's early and I am tired. But let me know what your thoughts are. And until then,